All right, what's happening, y'all? It's your boy Rico from StreetScores, and tonight, technically, while this Falcons are playing the Minnesota Vikings right now, the Washington Commanders got some big news. We're here to dive into that, man. Shouts out to Jacory Croskey-Merritt. Also, the second half of this video, we got to talk about how the Washington Commanders may be setting the preparations for a potential big trade before this trade deadline, especially after that embarrassing loss that we just suffered against the Green Bay Packers. Maybe the Commanders are being aggressive and they're potentially trying to go all in for a Super Bowl this year. We're going to dive into all of that and more, but before we do, make sure you stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Shouts out to my watch to the end game, and shouts out to my late night crew. Even though I'm not putting this video out late night like I usually do, shouts out to y'all anyway, but super shout out to all of my watch to the end gang, man. And I can't wait to dive into this content today, and I have a lot of other videos I want to dive into because, you know, we don't play again until next Sunday. You know, we have 10 days in between games, but that doesn't mean that I'm short on content ideas and things I need to talk about. So just stay tuned. Without further ado, let's go and dive into this video right now, man. Let's get it. Adam. All right, so it was officially announced earlier today that running back Bill Croskey-Merritt will be the team's featured back moving forward following Austin Ekeler missing the season with an Achilles injury. This came from @RapSheet. Of course, that's Ian Rappaport. He officially tweeted himself bar for bar, Commanders running back Austin Ekeler has, in fact, torn his Achilles. The MRI confirmed he's out for the 2025 season. And I've already talked about that in the previous video, about how sad that is. I mean, I'm really sad for Austin Ekeler because this is probably it for him as a Washington Commander. I already thought that it wasn't very likely that we'd re-sign him next offseason anyway to bring him back for the 2026 season, even if everything went very well. With his age and everything like that, his contract is ending because we signed him to a 2-year contract last year. But then now this makes it even worse. The concussion injuries, now the torn Achilles, and then again, running backs basically age like milk according to the NFL. I feel like running backs deserve more chances. I personally would like to re-sign Austin Ekeler for next year, even just as like this safe veteran. Even I just wouldn't give him as many carries, I wouldn't give him as many snaps on the field and stuff like that, but just to have him in the room at least during the offseason. We'll see what happens with a 53-man roster, but for like a pretty cheap contract, I'm like, why not bring him back? But the way the NFL works, older running backs don't last long, man. And so Ian Rappaport immediately right after that quote tweeted himself and said, Jacory Croskey-Merritt, known as Bill, now becomes the Commanders' RB1 while Ekeler sets his eyes on recovery. And actually, matter of fact, this information came out yesterday, not this morning. That just shows you how busy I've been the past couple of days, why y'all haven't been getting videos like over the course of like the last 36 hours. But I'm here now. But I feel like Cliff was using Ekeler entirely too much and often in that game in the first place, especially once we got to a point where the game felt like it was out of reach. I don't even know why he was on the field. And like, also, even before the Austin Ekeler injury, why wasn't Bill starting already? After what he showed you what he could do in week 1, why was Jacory Croskey-Merritt not getting the majority of the snaps, man? He should have been the lead back even before Austin Ekeler got hurt, in my personal opinion. Or at the very least, how about at least give him a good amount of carries? I mean, he just won Offensive Rookie of the Week. And over Emeka Egbuka, who had 2 touchdowns in his NFL debut in week 1, Bill won over that guy. Matter of fact, let's just take some time to dive into this Offensive Rookie of the Week. And shouts out to Bill, man, because he won Offensive Rookie of the Week, which is honestly, we can rename it to the Jaden Daniels Award because Jaden Daniels won it so many times last year. He broke a record for the most Offensive Rookie of the Weeks won in a rookie season in NFL history. So technically, Bill won the Jaden Daniels Award, and it's kind of like we picked up right where we left off. Shouts out to Mitch Tister for pointing out the fact that with Bill winning the Pepsi NFL Rookie of the Week, Commanders now have won the award 13 out of the last 19 weeks. Roster might be old on paper, but they're building a great young core, and I keep screaming about this. I know we're technically the oldest team in the NFL, like by average age, but we're really young where it really matters, especially for building towards the future and not only trying to win a Super Bowl this year, but trying to compete for Super Bowls in the years after as well. But Jaden Daniels won 11 times. Mike Sanford still even won once, and then now Bill won immediately week 1 of the season. I mean, even looking at these stats right here, Again, some would argue that Emeka Egbuka deserved it. Some people are saying that the Commanders just have this elite voting power. That's why Jaden Daniels won it so many times last year. That's why Bill was able to win it week 1 of this year. Of course, he definitely is not winning it week 2 because we didn't even give him the ball. But my point is, some people are making the argument that the Commanders fan base just has elite voting power. But no. Bill earned that, bro. Like, for real, though, he really earned it. Because, yeah, Emeka Egbuka went crazy. He was one of the best rookie wide receivers in the NFL week 1, but Bill was one of the best running backs in the entire NFL, period, not the whole rookie disclaimer in front of it. Emeka Egbuka was one of the best rookie wide receivers week 1. Bill was one of the best NFL running backs week 1. Not just the rookies. Like, listen to this, man. I have a few really interesting stats to give you to prove this. Jacory Croskey-Merritt is the first player in NFL history to be drafted outside of the top 200 picks and to have 75 plus rushing yards and a touchdown in their debut ever in NFL history, y'all. And there's a lot of great 7th round running backs, undrafted free agent running backs. Austin Ekeler used to win fantasy leagues. He's an undrafted free agent. He didn't have as hard of a start as Jacory Croskey-Merritt had. And even while then, like, I mean, you can maybe say, okay, so maybe he got lucky. He had a great offensive line in front of him going against a bad defensive line. Very wrong on the bad defensive line part, first of all, but also Jacory Croskey-Merritt earned a lot of those yards because he had a 20% missed tackle rate. That's insane. And how about he had 4.1 yards after contact per attempt? So yes, our offensive line blocked well, but also Jacory went out there and earned most of those yards by himself, regardless of how well or poorly the offensive line may have blocked on any given play. And also, after week 1, Jacory Croskey-Merritt was the leader among all running backs in the NFL in expected points added per rush attempt. This crazy advanced stat, he was number 1. Then it's like this huge drop off to the guy that's number 2, Derrick Henry. And you see Javonte Williams having the great season that he's having for the Cowboys. He was number 3. Jacory Croskey-Merritt was even better than those guys at 2, 3, Breece Hall at 4, Travis Etienne at 5, DJ Giddens at 6, and Kyren Williams right after that. Jacory Croskey-Merritt, according to this advanced stat, was even better than any other running back in the NFL, even at that. And then also, even before he was announced to have won an Offensive Rookie of the Week, NFL analyst Daniel Jeremiah said that he thinks the Commanders' 7th round rookie running back Bill Croskey-Merritt has a legitimate chance to win Rookie of the Year. He said, quote, he's got a legit shot to win Offensive Rookie of the Year in this offense with the weapons they have, the quarterback they have, and the offensive line that's upgraded. He's going to have an absolute monster year. Well, yeah, Daniel Jeremiah, I felt so too after week 1, but then the way that we didn't give him any carries in week 2, it's like, I don't know. Maybe the Commanders don't know how great of a talent they have on their own roster. I don't know what's going on. And again, Daniel Jeremiah said that before Bill even won an NFL Rookie of the Week, Offensive Rookie of the Week. So that was immediately after the Giants game. He didn't need any validation from all of the headlines of, look at this Bill Croskey-Merritt guy. He won Offensive Rookie of the Week. Let me check in with him. Daniel Jeremiah said that before he won Offensive Rookie of the Week. But why couldn't, if Daniel Jeremiah can see the vision, why couldn't the Commanders see that vision when we went against the Packers, bro? I mean, shouts out to Burgundy Manders. He brings up a great point. Bill won Offensive Rookie of the Week, and then they only gave him 4 touches against the Packers, bro. What is that? Especially in a game against an elite opponent, and Jacory was the only running back with a decent yards per carry output. He was our best runner that night. He just barely got the ball. Listen to this. Against the Packers, all 3 of our rushers from that game, Austin Ekeler, Bill, and Jaden Daniels as well, all of them had exactly 17 yards rushing. But this is the difference. Ekeler had to do it in 8 carries. Jaden Daniels had to do it in 7. Jacory Croskey-Merritt had the same exact amount of rushing yards in only 4 carries, half the carries that Austin Ekeler had. And even while looking at the game live during the flow of the game, it's like, yo, Jacory is maximizing the yards better than anybody else. He's making guys miss. He's hitting better angles. He's erasing angles that guys have on him. He's getting more yards out of his carries than Austin Ekeler would have, even if the offensive line blocked the same exact way. We call it the same exact play. Jacory just has the ability to get more yards out of it than Austin Ekeler. And I love Austin Ekeler. I'm sad to see him hurt, but Jacory is more explosive. I still don't get, especially after what he showed you in week 1, while we went into that week 2 game and just didn't give him the ball. It'd be different, okay, we just didn't run the ball a lot. And yeah, granted, we didn't run the ball a lot. I feel like even though we were down quite a bit, we still should have stuck with the run game a little bit more. But like, okay, you run the ball less, that's one thing as a total team. But when you do run the ball, you're giving it to Austin Ekeler more than you're giving it to Jacory. But before we even move into the second half of this video, shouts out to Sleeper, man. Football was great today, man. The football from this Sunday, especially that 1 p.m. and 4 p.m. slate, was insane. And that also means you have a chance to 1,000 times your cash on daily fantasy football. Washington football, and really just in general, the NFL has really felt never more exciting than it does right now, especially with the potential that we have. Again, I'm Mr. Optimistic. I think Jaden Daniels is going to bounce back. I think Terry McLaurin's finally going to get going. I did a whole video just a day or two ago breaking down why I believe all of this and why I feel like we still have a strong chance of competing for a Super Bowl this year. And Deebo Samuel's been hooping. He's one of the very few guys that played with pride against the Packers. But you can pick on stats for stars like these with touchdowns, passing yards, receiving yards, fantasy points, and more for up to 1,000 times payout on Sleeper. And if you're right on your picks, you can win big money. You can even use promo code SCORE, that's SCORE, and you'll get up to $100 match on your first deposit. Or you can just click the link at the top of the description of this video. And every video and live stream I'm doing all season, all the way through the Super Bowl and all of that, bro. Because again, we're going to the Super Bowl this year. I still firmly believe that, man. And it's not just the Commanders in the NFL. You can play fantasy with NBA, MLB, NHL, college football, college basketball, and the WNBA on Sleeper. I know, speaking of college football, y'all saw my Georgia Dogs do what they did to Tennessee in Tennessee with that come from behind victory, man. Never doubt. That's 9 straight against them boys. But, this is a Commanders video, so I'm going to stay off that. We're going to move on real quick. But terms and conditions apply. Of course, see Sleeper's terms of use for details and $1 minimum entries for users. And y'all know me, man. I typically love to just go straight to, like when I go to the app and you see at the bottom, you click picks, and then you see at the top, you go to top, and then I'm just scrolling down, I go to NFL popular duos. You know how I get, man. And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of liking this Ashton Jeanty 67.5 yards versus the Chargers, and Amarian Hampton 56.5 yards versus the Raiders. They play each other tomorrow night. I'm kind of liking that. If you do too, you can put 10 and win 31 from that. If you put 20, you can win 62. And if you put 100, you can win 311 if that happens, man. Ashton Jeanty, he had a pretty bad week 1, but I think he can show out week 2, especially since my Georgia dog Brock Bowers is healthy, apparently. So the Chargers are going to have to focus on stopping him. Maybe Ashton Jeanty gets a chance to eat against the Chargers because of that. And Amarian Hampton was pretty close to that last week. Like, when you do these, you can actually look at what they did the previous week, man. He was just a little under 9 yards away from succeeding with this and going over in his last week game against the Chiefs. So, 9 more yards compared to what Amarian Hampton did last week. He'll be good to go here. And again, Ashton Jeanty, it was bad last week. Last week was just bad, man. He only had 38 yards rushing, but I think this is his breakout game. He's too talented, bro. I know that Raiders offense overall outside of him and Brock Bowers isn't that good, but I think he's just too talented. I can see this going. Now, this isn't one of my major 8 legs that I do where I'm doing ridiculous research and I'm like, yo, get in on this. But I like these odds right here, man. And shouts out to Sleeper again. That's SCORE, SCORE, to get a $100 match on your first deposit. Now let's get back to this video, man. But continuing with the running back situation, because it's not just Jacory Croskey-Merritt. With Austin Ekeler's injury, it doesn't only affect Bill. Yeah, he's going to start now, and that was assumed. He should have been starting even before then, but it is what it is. But that also means that other running backs that are already on the roster and practice squad will now move up the depth chart. So Austin Ekeler off the depth chart, everybody moves up a spot. So now even Jeremy McNichols is your RB2, and that's pretty crazy. I'm pretty uncomfortable even saying that out loud. But that also means that Chris Rodriguez will now be out active on game days. For the first time this season, he will be your RB3. He hasn't played yet. He hasn't played a single snap yet in the regular season. But going into this week 3 game against the Raiders, he will. So Chris Rodriguez may not necessarily even be a starter. He may not even necessarily be RB2. Jeremy McNichols may outcarry Chris Rodriguez, but at least he'll be on the field and getting carries against the Raiders. And then that's not even just all. On live that night after the Packers game, on my live stream, I was wondering about Donovan Edwards, you know, the Michigan legend himself, and he was one of the best running backs in the entire NFL this past preseason. So I was looking at him like, well, he's already on the practice squad. Maybe he's like moves up into that 4th spot, that Chris Rodriguez spot where he's inactive on game days, but maybe he's on the active 53-man roster. We'll see. But then Aaron Wilson came out. What was this? Earlier today, I like the other thing where I falsely accused it being earlier today with Jacory Croskey-Merritt starting. That actually came out yesterday, September 13th. But literally, actually earlier today, Aaron Wilson gave an update that the Commanders are working out running back Demetric Felton on Monday, per league sources. And of course, he spent entire training camp with us. So it's interesting that he's even coming in for a workout because we know him as well as anybody else. He's a former Brown 6th round pick, and he had some pretty explosive plays this offseason with us in the preseason, training camp practices. I think even that joint practice against the Patriots, he had a couple of good runs. So naturally, they would go with a guy that they trust to now with Jacory moving up into the RB1 spot over Austin Ekeler. Again, if you're looking at it, Austin Ekeler moves off. So everybody's moving up. Jacory goes from RB2 to RB1. Jeremy Nichols goes from RB2 to RB3 to RB2. Chris Rodriguez goes from RB4 to RB3, and then I'm assuming Donovan Edwards probably moves from RB5 to RB4, and then now you have Demetric Felton to replace Donovan Edwards on the practice squad. But we'll see how that goes, man. There's no telling. Maybe Demetric Felton immediately jumps over Donovan Edwards since he was here all offseason with us, and we just brought in Donovan Edwards just a couple of weeks ago. And moving on to the next part of this video. Now, this one's really interesting. The Commanders have apparently restructured tackle Laremy Tunsil's contract by converting $18 million of his salary into a bonus, as well as adding 3 void years per spot track. What type of finesse finagle are Adam Peters and Brandon Sosna up to right now? This freed up $14.4 million worth of cap space in 2025. Why even bother to deal with something like this? Why even get this deep into your bag to create this cap space if you're not going to use it in 2025? This wasn't to clear up cap space in 2026 or 2027 so we could build towards the future. This was to clear up cap space for this current 2025 NFL season. Spot Track officially came out and tweeted themselves, the Commanders converted $18 million of Laremy Tunsil's salary into a bonus, adding 3 void years, creating $14.4 million worth of 2025 cap space. The 31-year-old is under contract through 2026 now, with $21.3 million of it non-guaranteed. He's basically on a similar contract to Deron Payne right now. Guaranteed money this year, no guaranteed money next year. So we're definitely have to talk about, especially with Deebo Samuel only on a 1-year deal. And then again, Laremy Tunsil and Deron Payne technically on 2-year deals with a lot of their money not guaranteed next year. Next offseason, after this season is over, after we win the Super Bowl, we're having conversations about trying to re-sign Deebo, Laremy Tunsil, and Deron Payne, among many others, like Bobby Wagner and a few people as well. Zach Ertz on a 1-year deal. Things could get interesting. But my main point is, you usually, like, a team doesn't care that much about clearing up cap space immediately this season if they don't plan on getting active before the trade deadline in November. And this Tunsil contract restructure came before the Packers game even happened. But now that the Packers game has happened and passed, we conveniently have a better idea of what our biggest weaknesses are for the team and what position group we may be targeting with a potential big trade. I mean, that's what I have to assume. Why clear up all of this cap space in 2025 if you don't plan on using a lot of that cap space? Otherwise, we could have just chilled. There was no reason to go through all these leaps and hurdles to do this if you're not planning on making a move. And again, they created this cap space before the Packers game. So I don't know what weaknesses they spotted against the Giants that made them want to do this. But after that Packers game, and sadly enough, some of the biggest weaknesses that some of the things we worked on the most this past offseason, which is crazy. But that also even further proves how we need to be patient and let guys develop and grow as not only players, but also grow within the systems as well on offense and defense. Because cornerback outside of Trey Amos looked like it needed help against the Packers. Maybe we're targeting an elite corner. Offensive line looked pretty weak at times in that game as well. Maybe we're targeting an offensive line. And sadly, even though we just gave somebody $30+ million per year this offseason at this position, Honestly, wide receiver to me was the weakest position group out of every position group on the team against the Packers from what I saw. Those guys really struggled with getting open consistently. But again, we just addressed 2 of those 3 needs with considerable capital going back to this past offseason, even dating all the way back to the last year's trade deadline, where cornerback-wise, we traded for Marshawn Lattimore and drafted Tre'Navon Amos in the 2nd round of the draft. Offensive line-wise, same thing. A trade for a veteran and a high draft pick. Offensive line-wise, we traded for Laremy Tunsil this offseason, and then we drafted Josh Connolly in the 1st round. So we honestly, in my opinion, for real, just need to be patient. With the purpose of this video, why did we clear up this cap space? I'm trying to figure out which position groups the Commanders may be trying to improve with a potential big blockbuster trade. Again, that additional cap space put us 4th in the NFL in cap space that's available right now. Now we have 30 million after adding 14 million. Before we had 16, which had us ranked somewhere in like maybe the top 15, top 20 of cap space in the NFL. Now we're 4th, only behind the Patriots, the Cowboys, and the Lions, right ahead of the 49ers, the Seahawks, the Buccaneers, the Titans, and everybody else in the NFL. Again, why would you clear up all of that cap space if you don't plan on using it in 2025? But again, it's week 2. I really want to emphasize, let's give guys some time, especially rookies like Josh Connolly, time to figure this stuff out, bro. Because again, not only is Connolly a rookie who has only started 2 games in the NFL, but he's also switching from a lifetime of left tackle to suddenly having to play right tackle. Again, I urge y'all to, if you're right-handed, suddenly just start doing everything throughout your day with your left hand, and vice versa. If you're left-handed, start doing everything throughout your day, brushing your teeth and writing, whatever, everything you do with your right hand. So I really want people to understand how difficult of a transition. It's not just, oh, you're a left tackle, you can easily play right tackle because they're both tackles. It's not that easy. But also, what if it's not one of those 3 positions that showed up terribly against the Packers? What if we're overthinking it? Because we just had an injury at running back, right? And some people are even talking about, and mind you, these are just fans having fun. These are not reports from reporters or anything like that. But people around the internet, mainly Twitter, were talking about how the Commanders could potentially be clearing up all of that cap space to trade for an elite running back. With the logic of thinking how huge Saquon Barkley was for the Eagles' success last year. And they probably don't win a Super Bowl without him. And I've seen people out there throwing out the ideas around that maybe we could be trading for a great running back that's on a currently struggling team maybe somebody wants out. Now, I'm personally not okay with trading away serious draft capital like a round 3-2, especially not a 1st round pick, for a running back in the NFL. Especially since we have all of this raw talent that we still haven't even tapped into with Jacory Croskey-Merritt yet. We haven't even fully unleashed him. We held him back in that Packers game. Not himself. It's not like he lacked talent. He just lacked the opportunities and carries. But people have thrown around this idea of maybe trading for like an Alvin Kamara. I've seen that name thrown around for the Commanders, even though he's up there in age. But the Saints are horrible. Probably wants out and wants to be a part of a Super Bowl contending team. And he's from Atlanta, so I've been rooting for Alvin Kamara even since high school, since his days on Alabama. Then he transferred to get a better opportunity to show what he truly could do, and which led to him getting drafted higher in the NFL instead of being a backup to all of those elite Alabama running back. Like, I've been rooting for him the whole, and then of course the Saints are the rivals to the Falcons, so I'm rooting for the Saints every time they play the Falcons. So I've been a big Alvin Kamara fan the whole time. Again, but just because of the age, I'm not sure about that, especially whatever draft capital would be required to get him. And even better, how about the Falcons may be somewhat competitive this year? But what if they get off to a bad start by the time we lead up to November? Because right now it's 2 minutes left in the first half of this game. It's 6-3. Maybe they lose this game. Maybe they start 0-2. Maybe they just continue to lose. We played them week 4. We beat them. At best, they're 1-3 going into October. You know, some people are suggesting that maybe we trade for Bijan Robinson to get him out of that bad situation of the Atlanta Falcons. And Bijan honestly is one of the ones. If you're going to trade for a running back, let it be him. He's easily top 5. I feel like, to me, top 3 running back in the NFL, like a Saquon Barkley level threat where you cannot stop him and Jaden Daniels. I feel like Jacory Croskey-Merritt has an elite ceiling. I feel like there's a lot of untapped potential and talent there, but the Commanders don't seem to think so with how they're remember, even week 1, they only gave him 10 carries. Then we go into week 2, he only gets 4. And again, don't tell me that there weren't a lot of carries to get out there, because Austin Ekeler had 8. That's not a lot, but Jacory still had half of what Austin Ekeler had. You could have reversed that. Let Jacory get 8 and Austin Ekeler have 4. And I'd still be at least okay with that, rather than even though there weren't a lot of running plays in general for running backs, for Austin Ekeler to get 2/3 of the running back carries in that game, unacceptable. So again, I value Jacory Croskey-Merritt. I think he has the potential to become one of those game-changing level running backs, but the Commanders aren't acting like it, so we'll see what happens. But Josh Taylor threw out the idea that, you know, this Laremy Tunsil thing, maybe it's just to set them up to be able to get extensions done at the end of the year to where we have some 2025 cap space available. You can go ahead and sign these guys before they even hit free agency in 2026. That's a thing as well, but I don't know. We'll see. And then lastly, before we get up out of here, shouts out to Serge the Shooter. Nothing to deal with anything else we talked about in this video, but he tweeted that we got to revisit the Washington conversations after the way the Giants played earlier today, man. Either Washington is better and the Giants are better than expected, or the Cowboys are just garbage. Now, granted, he tweeted this like right before the Cowboys ended up kicking that 64-yard or 66-yard, something like that. Brandon Aubrey's insane. To tie the game, to send it into overtime, and then the Dallas Cowboys ended up winning in overtime. But the Giants looked really good, especially that offense looked really good against that Cowboys defense. So is our defense, at least we could, you know, the entire team is another discussion. But is our defense actually just really good and the Packers just caught us lacking? Because remember, I mean, granted, as bad as that Packers game was, we held them to under 30 points. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know some people feel like the sky is falling. And yes, we allowed a lot of stuff wide open. We couldn't cover any of their tight ends, let alone Tucker Kraft, who had a career day against us at any point in that game. But we still allowed 27 points, bro. And again, to the argument that Serge the Shooter is bringing up with the fact that the Giants offense put up what, like 30-something, 40? Again, 37 points or something like that against the Cowboys. It's like, so our defense holding them to 6 points and no touchdowns. Maybe our defense is real and we just so happen to go against an elite defense in the Packers. Maybe the Packers defense is better than we thought. Maybe the Packers offense is better than we thought. And maybe we shouldn't be downplaying the Commanders. Maybe there's just a pecking order where it's the Packers in one tier, it's the Commanders in the next tier, and then actually the Giants and the Cowboys. The Cowboys is down there with the Giants in another tier. Like maybe I think a lot of people are acting like the world is falling and the Commanders are horrible. But when you look at what the Giants just did to the Cowboys, I think we definitely need to appreciate what the Commanders did to the Giants at least a little bit more. But yeah, man, that's the end of this video. Please get in the comment section. Let me know if you feel about everything discussed in the video. Please stiff arm that like button, stiff arm the subscription button, and stiff arm the bell next to that subscription button so you get a notification each and every time I release an informative and opinionated video just like this one. Really appreciate y'all. For those of y'all that made it to the end of this video, you're still watching me and still listening to me, I appreciate you and salute you personally. Shouts out to my Watch to the End gang, man. I might have to start doing shirts for those, bro. We might have to start printing shirts for that. And shouts out to my late night crew. Even though I'm finishing recording this around 9:35, 9:40, it's still not going to come out to like 10 something. And I'm pretty sure a lot of y'all still going to be watching it 2 a.m., 4 a.m., 6 a.m. So even though I'm not releasing the video as late as I normally do, I'm pretty sure y'all still tuning in. So shouts out to Watch to the End gang. Shouts out to the late night crew. Make sure you leave a like on the way out. And of course, let me know in the comment section how you feel about Jacory Croskey-Merritt becoming a starter running back. How do you feel about the running back room with Austin Ekeler out of it? Even with Jacory starting, how do you feel about Jeremy McNichols as RB2 and Chris Rodriguez RB3? And then with Donovan Edwards and Demetric Felton somewhere on the practice squad potentially chilling, and seeing how that goes out. Should we trade for a running back? Which also takes us to the Laremy Tunsil discussion. Do you feel like we freed up nearly $15 million worth of cap space in 2025 for a big potential trade, or is it something else? And if we are looking to trade for a great player, a big time player that can help us win a Super Bowl this year, which position group do you think is more than likely going to be at, and which player in that position group as well? Let me know all of that in the comment section, because y'all may bring up some ideas that I didn't think about, so I'm gonna try to read as many as I can. So I appreciate y'all. Stay tuned. Leave a like on the way out. Catch y'all later. I'm out.